Kev, a rare midweek without any league game, but no less busy with a behind closed doors game that was arranged against Leyton Orient, and of course the sponsors' evening on Tuesday. But looking forward to trying to extend this unbeaten run at home against Woking on Saturday.
Yeah, listen, as you say, it was nice to have the week without a game as such, a league competitive one after the long journey to Hartlepool on the back of all the games we've had. So a chance to get a bit of rest and minutes into the players that needed it on Tuesday, and they've got a bit of rest and trained today and ready to go for the weekend. And it's going to have another busy period again coming off the back of this weekend.
Yeah, good then to give Harry Taylor and Ollie Kensdale some important minutes, wasn't it, on Tuesday?
Yeah, listen, because training's been a bit reduced, if you want, for the games that have Saturday, Tuesday. We ain't been able to get too much intensity into them, and so to have the game was good for them. I think is no matter what you do in training, you can't replicate what happens in a game. So that was pleasing, and both done okay as well. So that was good.
And of course, that will probably give you a tougher task this weekend to try and pick a squad of 16.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And listen, we've had to leave people out the squad, and that's probably the hardest part of it. You can only have 5 subs in this league, which hopefully will change, but it does make it very difficult. But we're going into a period again with 4 games in, I think it's 9 days or something like that. So if the squad's hopefully going to be used, and speaking to the players, we know they've got to be ready when called upon.
Yeah, because there's only a month left of the season, but 7 games to fit in, and like you say, it's going to be a busy week with over the Easter period. But of course, the Solihull game following quite quickly off the back of Woking. Is it just focus on Saturday first and foremost?
Yeah, no, exactly it. We just full focus on Saturday, and when Tuesday comes round, we'll pick the bones out of Monday and see who's ready for that. But the full focus has to be on Saturday, and performing as well as we can, to try and get a result against a Woking team that will be really competitive, and have picked up some results, and we'll know be organised, well coached, and a real tough opponent.
Yeah, they will. And I suppose you'd be grateful to have the squad at your disposal, where at the start of the season you just didn't have those options. So despite the busy period that you do have to sort of look ahead to, you've got the options there that if needed you can sort of rest some players. Yeah,
listen, it's seeing where they all are, and we've got a month to go, so let's go and attack each game with everything we got, and see what happens. And that starts Saturday, and whoever's fit and whoever we think is ready to, and it's the right type for the game, or the right person needed for the game, then it's their job to go on the pitch and give everything they've got.
Yeah, and you touched on Woking as well. They've won 4 of their last 5 and a third in the form table. So shows that they've turned a bit of that corner with 3 of those wins coming up against sort of Altrincham, Gateshead and the like. So they're a very strong team, aren't they?
Yeah, listen, we've known that, and since whenever we've played them in this league, and you can look at the league and how tight it is, and that tells you, I think, there's never an easy game in this league, but everyone's fighting for something. Whether their teams at the top end are, Chesterfield still trying to get over the line, playoff teams are still going for it, and we're still fighting for every point. How tight it is right down the bottom, it's all right the way up to the, over halfway in the league, how tight it is. So there's points, and everyone's fighting for something, so there's no easy games at all.
No. Just touch on a little bit maybe Callum Powell, because he's been out for a while, and with only a month left of the season, are you hopeful of maybe seeing him back in action again this season?
Yeah, I don't want to put any pressure on him. We'd love to see him back. He's been doing more and more on the grass, but he hasn't joined in full training with us, so I'm sure he'll have to get a bank of that under his belt first before he'd be allowed to go into a game, or any sort of game and contact. So he's got to train with us for a period before that will happen. But listen, for him to get to the stage of where he's nearly ready, then it's all credit to him for his work ethic and how professional he is.
And a big night for you tonight as well. Good recognition and an honour probably to be awarded Freedom of Southend and the City of Southend, of course. And I suppose it's a testament to not only the job that you're doing here, but of course your playing career as well. Yeah,
possibly. Listen, whether I deserve it or not, I don't know. It's a great honour, obviously, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And appreciate of everyone who's said nice words about it. It's a bit humbling, to be fair, and I'm not sure what to make of it, but I am grateful, and I think, I do recognise everyone else that's through this period, have gone above and beyond as well. I know that's not lost on me at all, and everyone at the club, and whoever, Darren, Mark, John Steele, Tom Lawrence, everyone throughout the club who's done everything, yourselves, the staff, who've worked in tough times. You can't, I might be at the forefront of it, but it's definitely not lost on me what goes on behind the scenes.
Cheers.
A clean sheet on Saturday, which is just typical of the defensive record all through the season, really, and it's been pleasing for you that despite those changes you've had at the back and across the pitch, you've been able to maintain that.
Yeah, I think yes, a massive plus, because if you're going to be successful in a league and do well, you've got to keep them out at one end. So yeah, to be able to change the back three and still keep clean sheets, really, really positive. And I think it tells you about the structures we work to and stuff like that. So pleased that we could do that off the back of a long period of games and tough games, and to then travel and then still keep a clean sheet. And look, you're never comfortable, but without being stretched loads, was really pleasing.
And is Ollie Kensdale adapting well to the mask?
Yeah, no, he's trained a little bit now. He's had the game, so that's pleasing. I think he quite enjoys it, a bit of attention and that. So, but yeah, no, pleased that he's able to do that, and it's one of the things, and it's quite common nowadays that you see within football. So, but yeah, no, he's okay.
And it kind of the block you had, you talked a lot about the Hartlepool game being the end of a gruelling period. Obviously now with the Rio Grange game, is that sort of another block? Which psychologically, does that change how you get the players up for it at all?
No, listen, we've got to go again, and with a month of the season, we ain't got time to be tired now. We've got the squad to use, and I think the league putting it in there. Listen, us and Solihull agreed that towards the end of the season, I believe, when to play it, but the rules are the rules. We don't seem to get any help, but it is what it is. We've got to just attack the next game and see what's there, and whoever's fit and ready to go, their turn. And if they come in, their turn to attack the next game, and that's all we can do.
And just touching on the freedom of the city, the reasons you've been put forward for it is because what you've done for the city and what you mean to people here. But what does Southend mean to you? Yeah,
listen, I think it's like you say, it's probably important to think of it that way as well. And I was here 10 years as a player, 4 years as a coach, and now as manager. So it's been a huge part of my life. And for the people at Southend, I'm so grateful for the support and this honour, obviously. But yeah, it's been a huge part of my life, and something that comes a second home if you want. And you get to know people around the area and around the club, and it is huge part of my life, and to have it with my family here today would be nice.
And of course, some of the reasons behind you getting it are because of the difficult circumstances that you've dealt with while being in charge at Southend United. Earlier in the week, we heard about the new regulations and the governance around football ownership. And do you welcome that and hope that other managers will just be able to focus on the football for parts where you haven't been able to? Yeah,
listen, hopefully, it's something that we don't have time to look back, and I think that'll only happen when the season comes to a close and of what's gone on and stuff. And it's interesting that I think is at the sponsors' evening the other night, even when you hear Glenn Pennyharver talk about the stuff, and you go, oh yeah, I remember that. And these players, the loyalty they've shown, so you do forget. And I think it's important to recognise that players who could have walked away, who didn't. Loyalty in football is very rare nowadays, so for players to show that as well, I think it's commendable for them. And what it's done, and no manager I think wants to be in a situation because you want to focus on football. What it does is galvanise you, and I'm protective of these players and staff and everyone at the football club. And I think whereas you don't want people to go through that. I bet we'll look back at this time and go, quite enjoyed coming into work, which I've always done. I've always loved coming into work, and I think you look back at it and have a little smile to yourself and go, we got through that. But it tests you and hopefully makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Did Gus come back okay? And obviously a nice honour for him to play. Is he okay?
Yeah, he came back. He was with us today. Obviously, very light training. Done a little bit, and just to get his legs going again. So hopefully he's rested up and he's okay.
And Nor's available, isn't he? I know Afghanistan are playing. Does that dispute with him still ongoing? So
yeah, Nor's still with us and available. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I was going to say about the Solihull, was that a bit of a pain to have that on Tuesday? Ideally, would you have liked it to have started later on in the season?
I think us and Solihull, as I touched on, had agreed later on in the date in the season, but we've been overruled as such, if you want. So this is what it is. We have to go Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Monday now, which is again a tough schedule at the end of a long, hard season. But what we do know is we've got good characters in the change room, and we'll be ready to go.